Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Piotr Stanczyk, and I'm here today. I have an honor and a pleasure to introduce to you James Kudelka, a man who has changed landscape of Canadian dance. Not many of you know, he was born in a farmer's family, and I would like to say a farmer boy with a dream. Many of you know him very well. He is a man of great wit and great intelligence. He has changed my life on many levels, as an artist, as a human being. He was my boss once. For those of you who know me, I grew up in a communist Poland. It was pretty tough, but it very well prepared me to work with James. Hang in there. Now he's my very close friend, my mentor, my father figure, and I'm very, very privileged to have you in my life, James. Over the past 5 decades, James has choreographed nearly 150 works that have and are still being performed all around the world. He has directed several theatrical performances. He was director of National Ballet of Canada for 9 years. He teaches at National Ballet School, and he still creates. And after all of that, he still found time to bake bread and start his own baking company. And the bread is amazing. Highly recommended. You know, I'm reading this paragraph and I kind of feel I do so little with my life. James has invented and evolved a very unique style of choreography that draws from both classical ballet and modern dance. A style that produces works of very unusual technical inventiveness and emotional power. He pushes boundaries of musicality, partnering, technique, and artistry. I want to say that he's a master of finding new steps, especially the impossible ones. But his uniqueness doesn't stop there. And I want to mention something here that I felt that it was omitted by the press and by the artists themselves for a couple of decades. He's one of a very few choreographers with enough courage to never fall back on his previous success. He masterfully uses different styles, different vocabularies, and touching on different subjects and different ideas in all his works. And you can, I'm not sure if you saw, but he created a ballet called Men in Black, which was done in cowboy boots. His latest creation, Four Old Legs, which is an intimate study of a relationship. He touched on subjugation and injustice of women in his Swan Lake. And in our beloved Nutcracker, he touches on subjects of family and values in community. You know, I could go on here for hours to try to decipher all of his works, but I want to say this, I want to leave this up to you, and I want to ask you to be always emotionally available and intellectually active watching his works. It's a little cliche what I'm going to say now, but his works are like onions. They have layers. They can make you cry sometimes, but if you do cook them and caramelize them, they're actually quite nice. Now, I'm almost done. This brings me to, I think, the most important part of James as an artist. How he uses medium of choreography to deepen our understanding of humanity. What is this journey through life? A journey with no sequel. Is that all there is? Bring up the booze. Through his creations, he teaches us to be brave, to appreciate every moment of life, whether it's good or bad. His art touches us emotionally and intellectually. He provokes us to feel and think ideas and things that would never enter our minds on a regular day. And in simple words, he widens our understanding what it is to be human. Now, to finish this introduction, I'm going to quote Thomas Merton, who was a great writer and poet and spiritualist, American spiritualist. It was not easy to find a good quote for James, but I think I got one. And Thomas said, "Art enables us to find ourselves and to lose ourselves at the same time." Ladies and gentlemen, James Kudelka.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I just want to start by saying that you all went over 2 minutes. And I probably will too, but I am going to try to keep it really brief because I'm older and I have to pee too. When I became artistic director, I thought if I can't just get in front of a microphone and talk to my constituents, my patrons and things without having a script, I won't have done the job. I won't have done that part of the job very well. So I don't have a script, and I truly wish I did at the moment. I remember when I auditioned for my first Canada Council grant, and it was called an A grant at that time. I had a very, very difficult jury in front of me, because back then they had actually 6 people on the jury. And I was asked by Eric Brun what it is I wanted to accomplish with my life. And I said, I wanted to be a whole lot older with a whole lot of work behind me. I turned 66 last Friday, and I was looking forward to this event. And I thought, damn, I've kind of done that. I got older and I did a whole lot of work. But the most remarkable thing about it is I've gotten older and I realize I don't know anything. And I think that that's supposed to be the other thing I always wanted to do, was be wise. And I don't think I'm wise yet, but I think I'm getting there. What I did for a little while there was meet a wonderful man named Jim Wise. And he was part of my life for 19 years. He died 11 years ago. And I'd like to just sort of mention him because he was a very important person to me. I think to keep this kind of on the personal level, certainly there are patrons here, the Lazinskis, the Rosses, are so important people. But I know that this room is full of the people who over the years have helped me to stretch in different directions. And I really kind of was surprised at a certain point to realize that firstly to thank the grade 5 class who were willing to be in my version of Concerto Barocco at lunch hours. And then I did my first choreographic workshop piece was a piece called Encounter for a beautiful classmate named Linda Strong. And her partner was Robert Desrosiers, who was a very, very good friend of mine at school and a wonderful man and a wonderful colleague in the early days. But from that moment, when I joined the National Ballet, the prima ballerina, the company Veronica Tennant, grabbed me and sat me down on the piano bench in the corner and said she had seen that ballet at the workshop and would I like to do a piece for her for the next company choreographic workshop, I think in 1973 or 74. So I've never had a chance to thank Veronica for doing that, because that really was the beginning for an 18-year-old to have the ballerina ask for a work. And in a way, it started a whole, I never generated my own work. I did work because I was asked. I did work for her. I did work for Margie Gillis. I did work for Susan McPherson. I did work for Claudia Moore. I did work for Laurence Lemieux. I actually worked, I did work for Evelyn Hart. I've actually worked with a lot of Canada and the people who we celebrate and all have this award. And I look back, and as it was happening because I was asked, and I felt I always had to rise to the occasion if I was being asked by such amazing people to make work. And this extended into, I could name companies I've worked with, ballerinas I've worked with all over the place. And I'm actually amazed at what I've done, but still I tell you, I don't feel I know anything yet. I think we plateau throughout life. You plateau in your training, you plateau in your career, you plateau in your choreographic output over the decades, and you plateau in your age. And now I'm older, and I've been living from being a working person to a semi-retired person, and I'm actually now really looking forward to being a semi-retired person towards a retired person. And this award is actually helping me get there, because you don't want to be hanging on to a life that actually was lived. I couldn't ask for more than what I had from this career in this country. It's been amazing, but I don't know anything. Like, it's so odd. But maybe this is how I've always worked in my work. I do a work because I don't know if I can. Can I do a show with a puppet? Can I do a show called Four Old Legs to 16 pop songs for Evelyn Hart, who was a classmate? But we're old now, you know? Can any of us do any of this? Anyway, okay, 2 minutes is up. The last thing I want to say is sort of leading from that beginning and wanting to thank Veronica. I know you're here somewhere, and I have cataracts and can't see anybody in this room. There's a light in my eye. All these women in this room, and the men, Edward Hillier from Rex Harrington, you know, the lovely ones, the ones I love, the pain in the ass ones. You know which one. Sonia Rodriguez is here, my Cinderella. You know, lovely people. Anyway, okay, I'll shut up. But the important thing is the dance collection. Early on, there was a meeting. I mean, I was choreographing before this place even existed. You know, it was, they say 30 years ago, I was at the ballet school in 1965, you know, at lunch hour. There was a meeting at one point where I think Lawrence and Miriam were trying to sort of get the idea into the community's head that this was important. And I was a young choreographer, and I didn't think it was important at all. I just wanted to make work. Now I've come to the point that the only way my work is going to be remembered is if there is a place like this that strives to remember us. And that's really moving to me now, and particularly because I'm older and don't know anything. And I need to know that it's being held somewhere, the idea that my career happened, and it involved a lot of people, thousands of dancers I worked with over the years. So thank you, Dance Collection, and thank you, all of you, this collection, for helping me to get here and for hanging on to it now that I am.